Perhaps it was carried here on wings like these, or by the wind, or washed up by the sea. By some unknown route, life arrived on these islands. Bizarre shapes of barren rock, the shield volcanoes of the Galápagos Islands rise up out of the Pacific. The whole archipelago belongs to Ecuador, and it lies directly over the equator, 45 islands of various sizes, about 1,000 kilometers from the South American coast. The Earth has been around for billions of years, but the Galápagos Islands were formed much more recently, just 5 million years ago, which seems like yesterday if you look at the history of the world. It all began here, at the Galápagos hotspot, when glowing hot lava broke through this unusually thin part of the Earth's crust to form a volcano. In time, a whole section of the Earth's crust, the Nazca Plate, moved away to the southeast, taking the volcano with it and making way for new volcanoes and islands. The spores and seeds of the first plants on the islands were probably carried here by birds or blew in on the wind. Gradually, life started to develop. The sea around the islands is home to over 300 species of fish. This rich variety is supported by a cool, nutrient-rich stream which flows past the islands, the Humboldt Current. Eventually, new forms of life arose here, adapted to the island's unique conditions. Archaic forms, reminiscent of the beginning of time, have survived to this day. The Galápagos. Could they be one of the last remnants of paradise? A true Garden of Eden? When in 1835 the English theologian and scientist Charles Darwin came to the Galapagos, he hoped to find a new Garden of Eden. He was trying to prove the literal truth of the story of the creation as told in the Bible. And he imagined that these remote Pacific islands would turn out to be a center of creation, where the species were preserved as God had created them. Instead, Darwin discovered something even more miraculous. This isolated world of plants and animals showed him that all life is constantly changing, that all living things are continually evolving and adapting to their environment. Darwin's theory of natural selection was published in 1859 in his book The Origin of Species. It was to change, radically and forever, our whole understanding of humanity and its place in creation. The name Galapagos comes from a Spanish word for tortoise. In fact, it was through his observations of the tortoises on the islands and these Galicia forests that Darwin arrived at his discoveries. He saw here plants and animals which had clearly originated far away and had come here by chance. But they'd adapted to their environment by developing into new forms of life found nowhere else on Earth. Because the process of evolution can be seen at work so clearly on the Galapagos, the islands with their incomparable fauna and flora are a true showcase of nature. And that's why they were chosen, ahead of so many other places, to be a World Heritage Site. Sadly, though, man's increasing interference here is putting this part of the world's heritage more and more at risk. In the Galapagos, Darwin wrote, he felt himself brought closer in time and space to the mystery of mysteries, the appearance on Earth of new living creatures. Closer, in a word, to creation itself.